But before I get started, I would like to recognize Diane Stewart, who is here today. Would you please stand? Diane Stewart is who gave me the artwork for the book and on the inside of the book, too, as well. So I'd like to appreciate her for that. The pictures of the beautiful koi fish on the front and inside the book. So I have had an exciting few weeks. I have been to several different churches and centers promoting my book, and I've had some interesting things happen, and it's been a lot of fun. And I want to share with you that I've gotten to do some things that I don't normally get to do. A couple of weeks ago, I was interviewed on a radio program, and that was fun. And Charles Johnson, Chaz, helped me make a YouTube, which is out there. I'm sure that some of you have seen it by now. And it's a wonderful experience, and it's an incredible thing to get to be able to do all of these wonderful things. But I have to share with you, last Saturday night, before I talked at CSL Dallas about my book, I decided that I would go on the internet and kind of Google myself and see how, if I can bring up the YouTube. And I found that it's in several different places. It's not just in one place. And apparently you can click on different places, and different ones have different numbers. One of them that I clicked on, it was 144 views, and I liked that. So I clicked on it, and in the center of the screen is my video, and it shows my face there, and you can click on it. And then on the other side of it, it has all of these videos that you can click on. If you like this, you'll like this. And I look over there, and this whole line is just click after clip, clip, clip after clip after clip of Third Rock from the Sun. What is that all about? Third Rock from the Sun. The aliens come to Earth, and they just don't quite get how we live our lives. And of course, they're trapped in physical bodies, but they're from somewhere else, and they're trying so hard to understand life and the people and why they do things. And I got to thinking about that, and that's not really so far-fetched. That's not really so far-fetched. Those of us that are on the spiritual path that know that we are more than our bodies and more than our conditions, that's not such a far stretch, is it? Trying to figure out this thing of a life and how do we live it, what all we do, how we create things, and how we can screw things up. This morning, I want to bring up the idea of love in Hebrew. So we have this slide here. Say that with me, ahava. And that is the deeper sense of love. It's the greater sense of love in the Hebrew language. And there are many, many layers to what it means. There is raya, which is that friendly kind of love. And there is dode, for those of you who read the Bible, dode is that sexual, sensual kind of love. And then there's hava. Now, the two meanings that I want to bring up this morning for ahava is one, the major meaning is love, and the other is to give. To give love, if you want to put those two together, to give love. So what happens when we give love? Giving love is how we participate in loving our neighbors, in loving the people that we don't know. Giving it out and bringing it back is how we do it. If we don't give, then there's a disconnect. Disconnect is where all of the feelings that we can have or that others can have about judgment, blame, guilt, dislike, distrust, hate. Hate is just love not expressed. Hate is a symptom, and love is the cure. Those of you who are on a spiritual path, you're going to know what I mean when I say there is an ache in me. There is an ache inside of me that I don't particularly feel here this morning with you. But when I'm out in the world, I can feel that ache. And love is the only thing that can cure that ache. That ache in other people that we see comes out in many, many negative ways. That ache that we have inside can be called many things. I simply choose to call it an ache. And you and you and you and you and you are the medicine. And all of those people out there. My book is not particularly about the major paths of Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity. It's about the paths that we can take in our lives for an afternoon, a day, a week, a month, or all of our lives. So I want to start you off on a path this morning that you can do today. You can end it this afternoon. You can take it into your week, or you can take it into your lifetime. I'd like for you just to look at your neighbor. And if there's not somebody sitting beside you, you can just look at me. And if you will, look at your neighbor and repeat after me. We are destined to love. Now, that wasn't so hard, was it? No. Okay, so let's take that a step deeper. This time, I'd like for you to either look behind you or in front of you. Maybe it's somebody you don't know or don't know very well. And just get somebody locked in your eyesight. And if you can't lock anybody into your eyesight, you can just go ahead and look at me. But look at someone else now. Now, let's say that again. We are destined to love. Now, that second time, it wasn't quite so easy, was it? You maybe felt a little funny, maybe you felt a little hesitant. Because we've got love wrapped up in so many other things other than the love that we were born with. The love that we were born with recognizes itself. The love that we were born with doesn't need an excuse to happen. Our job is to ahava. Our job is to give that love in the world. And of course, accept. But our job is to put it out there. Is to put it out there. So here is where this path can take you for maybe this afternoon or tomorrow or the next week or for the rest of your life. After you leave here today, when you're back out into the world, I'd like for you to get somebody locked in your sights, and they do not have to be looking at you. And I'd like for you to say to yourself, the only difference between thought and spoken word is vibration. Say to yourself, we are destined to love. Now something's going to happen. This is where your path, this path that I'm sending you out on, this is where it can take a turn. This is where it can open up to a multitude of many, many things. You may feel negative about that. You may feel strange about that. You may feel judgment. You may be thinking to yourself, how can I love that person when they're fat? How can I love that person if they're bald? You may, all kinds of things may go on inside your mind. How can I love that person if they're a different skin color or a different nationality? What's going on inside me? There's your work. There's your work to work on that, whatever it is, if it is a negative response. See, I believe that negative things are meant to, on a path, negative things are meant to be healed, and positive things are meant to be grown. So what if you look at someone and you say, we are destined to love, and you really get it, you really understand it? There's where your path can take a different turn. You recognize it in you, you realize that you have it, and then you go out and you do it. You start volunteering, you start taking this practice of telling a total stranger, even if it is in your own mind, we are destined to love. Because we are born from love, and we will return to love at some point. And our spiritual paths reveal to us love. And by path, I mean the conscious awareness of who you are, that you are both human and divine. In religious science, we will tell you that there is only one mind, and that we're all connected with that one mind, and that everything that is known in one mind is known everywhere in mind. We can intellectually understand that, but, there's always this them and us thing. Because we're here, we're aliens. We're here. And we all seem so separated. But yet we're all so interconnected. There's a company called Institute for Heart Math. And for 18 years, they had been doing research on the electromagnetic field of the heart. The heart and brain interact with each other, and they send off impulses. And what happens is that when somebody gets close enough to us to where those impulses or those signals meet, we actually feel certain things in our bodies. This is how come we feel so good around the people we love. This is how come we feel negativity around certain people. This is how come we feel all sorts of things when we interact with each other. It's because our heart, not our brain, is sending something out. I want to share with you some of their findings. They call this cohesive consciousness, coherence consciousness. Our heart produces an electromagnetic field that changes according to our emotions. What we feel in our hearts, we send out as a message. The heart's magnetic field can be measured up to several feet away from our bodies. Positive minds, of course, create psychological benefits, and negative ones, of course, tear them down. The heart has a system of neurons that are both short and long-term memory, and they can affect our emotional experiences. In fetal development, the heart forms and starts beating before the brain is developed. A mother's brain wave can synchronize to her mother's heartbeat, or to her baby's heartbeat. And the heart sends out more information than the brain does. The universe is rigged in our favor. If we can get close to someone, if we're standing in some proximity of someone else and we have good thoughts, good feelings, good beliefs, we're actually sending that to them. And of course, the same works with negativity. So that is how this path can work for you, even if you don't quite buy into the, what's known in one place is known everywhere. Physically, you are sending out a message, and you build that message through your identity of your true self. That is how we build heart. For a long time, I thought the heart is just an organ, just like the brain, and it doesn't really make any difference. It pumps blood, let it go. Seriously. And for 4 years, I was a minister of a church called the Global Heart. I would not let people bring in big red hearts for advertising. That the very last, before my church closed, I did give our board some red hearts. But I've always kind of thought, well, it's just something that pumps blood. Well, let me tell you, it pumps love. It pumps love with every beat of it. And that is what we were created from, is love. And we can send that love out into the world. Ahava, to give love. So I want to set you all on that path this morning and see where it leads you. You will be drawn to someone while you are standing in a line. You will be drawn to look at them and consciously think to yourself, we are destined to love. It does not matter who they are. We're destined to love. And I'd like to share this with you from my book in closing. This is the first poem in the book. It's called That Crazy Moon. If we pressed our hearts together, the sun would melt like butter and beams of light would flow into darkness everywhere. If we held hands, the world of separation would fall silent. Those old stories would stop telling themselves altogether. If we danced, the streets would be filled with flowers. The music from the spheres would play on forever. If we kissed, the sky would burst into light 1,000 times, stars racing across a sea of blue. How fantastic. because we are destined to love, it's time to stop standing alone. And so, here we are, you and I. Now, if that crazy moon would just show us its rings, I would buy one for you.